What is up, you guys? It is D-Man HC, and I am back. And yes, we are back. We're not gone. We're just haven't been able to upload it with like the holidays. You guys haven't seen like me even do like my weekly predictions because like Christmas and New Year's and everything going on. Yeah, but we did actually do a Denver game preview, but something went wrong with my computer. I pressed upload and then scheduled it, and then when I went up that morning to post out the video, it never officially uploaded. Yeah, but you guys know, this is the game preview. We're here with Vince.
You already know, man. I feel like you did this, but nah, like I said, man, holidays, but enjoying Christmas, New Year's, Happy Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas, man. Happy New Year. How was your holidays?
It was normal, got some Bills gear, got some New Jersey, had a Tre'Davious one for so long, so,
Ooh.
Now we got Big Ed Albert.
Ooh, you got Ed Albert just now. That's a unique one. But I just want I want every Bills fan to say, if the Bills do not win by like 20 points this week, blame Vince. Because I was telling him, I was warning him, like, the weeks we didn't do these uploads.
No.
I can show you the DMs. Like, I can show them. I'm just saying, the weeks we didn't upload the game preview, Buffalo been smacking the taste out of their opponents.
He just wants to find a reason to blame you for something.
I'm just saying. Quick question. Did we do a game preview for the New England Patriots?
No, we did not.
What happened? They won by 29 points against the Patriots. Belichick broke a phone. And Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs lost me in a fantasy championship game because I was up 72 points. And I lost my
fantasy championship, yeah.
Bro, I lost my fantasy championship because of Allen and Diggs. I was like joking with my dad because I was playing him. And when Diggs scored his third touchdown, I was like, yes, no. I don't know.
But see, I had a weird fantasy championship though. Mine was on week 17.
See, I hate those. Because I like week 16 because everyone's still playing. You still have stuff to play for. So you're getting your star players. Week 17, like you saw, the Bills played Allen and Diggs for a half. The Chiefs didn't even play Mahomes. So, like, I don't like a week 17 fantasy championship. But, like I was just saying before.
A lot of people I had still had something to play for, so.
Like I said before, if the Bills don't win by like 20 plus points, blame Vince. Just saying. I warned him, like, the weeks we didn't do these uploads, they've been killing them. Literally. But, so, since we have been officially gone, we did do a Denver one, but like I said before, they're just never officially uploaded. Since we've been gone, the Bills not only have won the 13th game of the season, they've also won the division, and then also swept New England for the first time since 1999. And then they swept the division for the first time ever. We've missed a lot of things for the Bills. It feels won the division for the first time in my lifetime and Vince's lifetime. Swept the Patriots for the first time in Vince's lifetime, because I think, Vince, you were born when?
I was born in 2007.
Yeah, so I technically was born in 1999. I was born in 98. I don't remember a damn thing from 99, but that's the last time the Bills swept the Patriots before this year. And they've never swept swept the entire division. They went 6-0, which is a pretty amazing stat to think that the Bills of the 90s never went 6-0 against the division. I found that really interesting. And I found this stat interesting last week. When the Bills put up 56 points, it is the second most amount of points that they've scored in franchise history. The last time they put up more than 56 points was September, I think, 13th, 1966. So that was before even my dad was born. My dad was born in November that year. So the fact that they put up 56 points was the most points in my lifetime and my dad's lifetime. Yeah. But this is a whole different perspective now. Every team is not 13-3, 9-7, 11-5. or in the Washington football team's case, 7-9 and hosting a playoff game for some goddamn reason. They are 0-0, fresh start, and this is where Buffalo thrives because they've already had the mentality of we're 0-0 this week. We have to win this week's game. Because when you look about every single game the Bills played, they have not looked back since the Cardinals game. That game has restructured them, and they look at every game week by week. All right, we're trying to go 1-0 this week. That's the mentality Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have brought to Buffalo. It's one game at a time. Play your game and don't worry about anything else. So, Buffalo is going to be hosting the Indianapolis Colts, the 2-seed Buffalo against the 7-seed Colts. And, of course, the first year that they don't have a second bye week is when the Bills get it. Love that. I would not want it anyway either. I think the bye week might come back. Sorry. What?
I said, not at the rate they're going. At the rate they're going, the bye week would probably hurt them. So I'm glad that I guess this format has benefited them in some way.
I absolutely agree.
It's weird that the 2 seed in this conference is playing on a Saturday versus Sunday, but that's another story for another.
You know what? I'm gonna disagree with that statement after this. But like Vince said, the Bills not getting the bye week probably is the best thing because they're playing probably the best football in the NFL right now. They are the hottest team. They're the only team the first team since the 2014 Seahawks to win their last 6 games and by 10 plus points. And those games include the Chargers, the 49ers, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Dolphins. Now, when you look at that, 4 of those games were on prime time. Everybody was watching those games. So, the Bills were shining when the lights were on them. And that is what is, impressive. Because the motto used to be for, years is Bills can't play in prime time. Bills don't like it when the light's on them. They like to be stayed in the shadow. They'll win on Sunday at 1 o'clock and, move on. That's a whole different story this year. But I will say, the second seed playing at 1 o'clock doesn't bother me. Because if you look at it, and knock on wood, Buffalo's actually undefeated on Saturday or Sunday. They're undefeated on Saturdays, but they are undefeated when they play at 1 o'clock. Weird stat, but true. They are undefeated when they play at 1 o'clock. Their 3 losses came on a Tuesday night against the Titans, a Monday night against the Chiefs, and then a 4 o'clock game against the Cardinals. So the Bills are undefeated at 1 o'clock.
No problem with it. I just thought it was weird, based off the scheduling. So I just thought it was weird that way. But, I really don't care when we play. As long as we're playing, I'm there.
Well, let's see. You have the Bills and Colts at 1 o'clock. Is the Saints game on Saturday or Sunday?
Saints is on Saturday. Saints is on Sunday at 4:40.
Okay, so the Saints is the Nickelodeon game. So then I know Tampa Bay is Sunday night or Saturday night. I don't know. I don't know the games.
Pittsburgh is on Sunday.
Pittsburgh's on Sunday.
And the Baltimore. So basically, we're the only AFC game that's on Saturday. The other 2 AFC games are on Sunday, along with 2 NFC Saturday, 1 NFC Sunday.
Okay, so perfect. There we go. And in fact, I like the fact that the Bills are the first game because I know Vince is not this way. I am this way. I don't like the Bills being that late game or whatever because when I wake up at 10 o'clock or whatever, I like to be the Bills the first game. That way if they win, it's great. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But I'm seeing all these other outcomes and the nerves are starting to build up and it's I don't like that.
But now, granted, my schedule's I have to tweak my schedule, depending on what time when we're not playing at 1 o'clock. But really, I could care less.
See, I wish I had that mentality.
Shit, if we play at 4, hey, it's okay. Because the way I have my schedule up is up about maybe 3 or 4 hours before the game time, get my head right, do my daily due diligence, you know what I'm saying, get clean, fresh, you know what I'm saying, and out maybe about 2 hours before game time to go to the game. If it's a 4 o'clock game, probably not getting up to like noon, maybe, you know, about noon, maybe 1 o'clock there. And a night game is a night game. I'm up.
Yeah.
I'm up during the day, and then just sitting around waiting for the game to run. So I mean, really don't really matter to me. I'm cool whenever we play, as long as we playing. I just know I'm locked in for 3 hours every time. So
I wish I could have that same confidence. I just like Buffalo winning at 1 o'clock, playing at 1 o'clock, winning, so that way my rest of the day I can just sit back, enjoy football, have nothing to worry about. But like, cause I feel like, you know, when you're waiting for the Bills, it's like that's the worst part. Cause I just want to see them play, and I'm just like seeing like, you know, if the Bills had like the 4 o'clock game, it's like, I gotta sit through this game, then I gotta get to Buffalo, and then that's when like the nerves really build up. But I like Buffalo playing at 1 o'clock. Buffalo hosting the playoff game, so, you know, Steve Tasker said in the hype video, we'll see you in January. Might be chilly.
So we'll see you in Buffalo in January. Be ready. It might be chilly.
Still love that video. Still gives me chills when he says that. But
speaking of that, I might go watch that video.
I'm gonna put it in this video. like where I said, like, you know, where it might be chilly, it's gonna go in right after that. But yeah, and Buffalo probably got the best case scenario for who they had to play, because when you look at who they could have played, they weren't going to be playing Cleveland. Because if Cleveland won, they were the 6th seed. They weren't playing the Ravens because the Ravens were playing the Bengals, so they were going to be playing the 5. They were going to be the 5 seed. It was either going to be.
Regardless of who they got, I mean, it was a very winnable situation whether they got the Colts or whether they got the Dolphins. So,
but the only team, the team you did not mention, was the team I did not want to play in the first round, which was the Tennessee Titans. If the Titans would have lost that game against Houston, where it took a doink of a field goal to bounce in, they would have been going into overtime. I did not want to play the Titans in the first round. And the reason is because...
Why, though?
Why? Yes, their defense is bad, but Derrick Henry, and I'm going to say this properly, he bitches grown men. Like, he becomes the father of grown-ass men. They could be 40 years old. Derrick Henry going to bitch them and become their father. I do not want that to happen again.
That's fine. That's fine. But you realize when he played us in week 5, he did not have a good running day. He had one highlight on Josh Norman. What did he do? Like, he had one highlight and then he had 2.
Yeah, and what was that one highlight of Josh Norman?
Inside the 10-yard line. But other than that, what did Derrick Henry really do?
He bitched Josh Norman. I told you, he made a son.
I mean, hey man, you can. I take him having that highlight all day rather than trying to run all over us, like I've seen him do the other team. So I mean,
yeah, he rushed for 2,000 yards.
Statistically, yeah, he ran for 2,000 yards while having a 55-yard rushing game against us. Think about that. Yeah.
Well, it helps when you got to face the Texans twice, and that's 400 yards right there.
And mind you, he did that against. We stopped him with a weak defense that we had. Literally, we had a lot of injuries that game.
That's true. I just did not want to play the Titans round 1. That was like my main goal. I didn't care if we faced Miami. I didn't care if we faced the Colts. I did care if we faced the Titans week 1. The Dolphins, they walked in controlling their own fate. They had to beat the Bills' backups, and they couldn't do it. And then they had to hope that Colts lost to Jacksonville. They had 4 situations where they could have made the playoffs. A win they're in, or a loss by Cleveland, Tennessee, or Indianapolis. And none of those happened. Actually, no, wait. Tennessee clinched because of the Miami loss. So I think they needed a Baltimore loss. So yeah. So they needed 4 situations to happen, and none of them did, and they got bounced as a 10-win team. Now, the one thing I will say before we get...
They weren't playoff ready.
They were not playoff ready. But I want to say this one thing before we do a deep dive into this playoff game because we're already 15 minutes in. Even though timing doesn't really matter for us because we go over an hour usually. Tua is a game manager. From what I was seeing, he refuses to push the ball down the field. He will do the checkdowns, and in fact, the plays where he was intercepted was when he was throwing over 10 yards. I mean, yeah, he had the big play to against Levi Wallace and against Josh Norman those 2 times, but Josh Norman on a 5-yard route, Devontae Parker slips and Josh Norman picks it and runs it into the house. Then there was another check down going 5 yards, and Andre Smith forces a fumble. Then Dean Marlowe picks him off twice, and both those passes were going over 10 yards. He did. It's whatever. Although I will say, it was me and my dad were joking when the Dolphins scored their final touchdown. I'm like, darn it, now we're only going to win by 30. But that was kind of a fun game to watch for Buffalo. I mean, can we talk about how underrated Gabe Davis is still?
It's a gamer, man. I mean, a 55-yard touchdown probably would.
He had 2 receptions.
I mean, he's had 2 catches, bro.
107 yards off 2 catches and a touchdown.
You know what? He had 250. I forgot. That's what actually made up the yard. He had 2 50-yard receptions.
Yes.
And both of them came with Matt Barkley as his quarterback.
Yep. So, getting in...
He's going to be the X factor during this run. I'll tell you that now. Especially if Cole... If Cole doesn't play Saturday, that's fine. I think, like I said, I really don't think they need him for at least for this week.
Cole is the security blanket for the Bills. It's 3rd down, you need 4 yards, it's going to Beasley.
I mean, but you got to think about it, though. See, the fact that now that you got you have so much depth that I think, but I think you have it to where the Cole is not available. Move Diggs into the slot. Okay, you have Brown and Gabe outside, and then you have a new security blanket. So I mean, I really think, and I think Diggs in the slot will be very will have a hefty advantage for Buffalo. No matter who they play. I mean, because putting Diggs up against the slot receiver, I'm pretty sure he's going to put them 9 times out of 10.
So let's get into this deep dive for the Bills' first home playoff game in this century.
Did we mention we're going to have fans?
Oh, we did not. So, not only are the Bills hosting their first playoff game, this is going to be the first time the Buffalo Bills have fans in the stands. The Bills Mafia will be out there. Now, granted, it is only 6,772 people, but I've told Vince this, and I've told everyone this. That 6,700 people, those 6,700, is going to probably be the loudest the stadium has been ever. And think about that. And
it's going to be louder than a lot of people think. I mean, I've been talking to some of the fans, that are around me. And I'm like, hey, man, look, y'all think just having almost 7,000 people ain't going to be nothing. But to them, I mean, out there, maybe soon, maybe when we're actually watching, we might be able to see it. But look, it's going to be louder than a lot of people think than what they originally would. And some people think it's going to be quiet. Nah, man. Look,
no, it's going to...
That many people. So, and then, like I said, I know we talked about it a lot this year. Even other players from other teams have talked about it. Playing in empty stadiums, you have to, as a player, you're finding ways to you got to bring your own juice. You got to bring your own energy to these games. So, but, of course, with them doing that, along with them having 600-700 people out there, that is going to be a very big game changer for them throughout the playoffs, especially if they keep winning. They win at least 2 games, you get them. If they win this week, they get you to lose another home game. So I think 2 home games for them is pretty big in the playoffs, which is another reason why I'm actually glad they went and did what they did to go get the 2 seed, because they guaranteed them at least 2 playoff games. So
Well, no matter what happened in Week 17, it looked like they were going to be getting the 2 seed because the Steelers were resting starters, and it seemed like they were planning to play Cleveland again. So, Buffalo getting the 2 seed, like you said, if they win this week, which, you know, it's not throwing anything out there, but, like, if they win this week, they're going to be hosting another playoff game next week, which would be huge. Yeah, Buffalo's hosting fans, and I think that's going to give the Bills the extra, like, just another boost. This team has been playing on fire as of late. That Arizona Cardinal game was literally a flick of a switch. This is a completely different team. The last three of the last 4 games, the Bills' defense has actually scored a touchdown or special teams play. Touchdown or on special teams. I wish that was Andre Roberts, but I noticed it in the beginning. I'm like, I guess that's the first person that was active but resting was Andre Roberts because McKenzie was returning kicks. He was returning the kickoff. So let's get into this. Let's get into this game right here. We got the Buffalo Bills hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this. The big thing for the Bills is going to be airing this ball out. Rock Ya-Sin for the Colts has already been declared out with concussion. He could not clear concussion protocol. So when you're Josh Allen, I'm not saying Josh Allen's my player to watch, Vince, so don't worry. But I'm saying when you're going to have Devin Singletary in the backfield, you're going to have Stephon Diggs, who led the league in receptions and receiving yards this year. First Bills player to do either. He's the first Bills player to lead in receiving yards or receptions, and he did both in his first season. You're getting John Brown back, who smoked Byron Jones last week on a 32-yard touchdown, so it's great to see him healthy. You're going to have Gabe Davis. You're going to have Dawson Knox, who, when he catches the ball, he's a bulldozer. But it's a big if. He is the most...
Here's a side note. Sunday is actually probably the first game of the season where I can say, hey, it wasn't Dawson Knox's fault why he didn't catch the ball. Because look, I think if I go back and look at the stats, I think Dawson had like 8 targets, but he only came up with like 3 because like a lot of those passes were like either over his head or they were just underthrown. I was like, yo, like he's there, like why we can't get it to him?
The thing about Dawson Knox is he will miss the easy catches, but then he'll like catch a pass one-handed while getting smacked in the head. He makes the most ridiculous catches, but can't catch the easy ones. If he could catch the easy ones, he'd be a legit tight end. But, like I said, we still have Dawson Knox. We're most likely going to get Tyler Kroll because I believe he was reactivated off the COVID list.
Yes.
I mean, you got the big old bongo of Lee Smith who's going to catch those 1-yard passes, or, like, you know, against the Patriots where he was running a full-on sprint for 15, 20 yards. And don't forget, if Cole Beasley's active, you have Beasley, and now you also have Kenny Stills. This Bills receiving core is loaded. This is going to have to be like, you know, this is going to be, Josh Allen is going to have to be like Oprah Winfrey. You get a reception, you get a reception, everybody getting receptions. Because when you have Kenny Stills as your, what, 5th receiver?
But he's like 5th.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Kenny Stills was the Texans' like number 1 when went like this past season before he got cut.
So, I do think he'll be activated. I mean, Granny just got there Monday, and I mean he's practiced all week. So
I don't know if he can be activated though, because he was just signed on Monday. I don't know what the COVID protocols are for playoffs, but I don't know if, like, you know, he was technically already signed on Friday or Saturday when they were already discussing him, and then it just.
I mean, he might have been, but I do know off rip. I mean, all practice you have unlimited call-ups in the playoffs.
Yes.
So we're gonna be seeing people like Dane Jackson and a few of them who've already had call-ups this season. if they choose to, bring them up, they can always bring them, and they can have a limited player for the roster. So which is a good thing. And matter of fact, speaking of Mr. Dane Jackson, he that you know what? I don't know how many times I gotta say it. That kid is special, and I'm really lobbying for him to be CB2 next year. Seriously, like.
I think.
And this is not a knock on Levi. Levi has had a year, but I mean, when you look at the film and when you look at the tape, man, I mean, Dane Jackson has been showing that he can get his hands on the ball. He can force turnovers. He plays great coverage, and I mean, he's just playing a little bit. He's just playing better than.
The only thing I will say about Levi versus Dane is I think it's not like, a bold take. I think Levi's going to be getting the start over Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson's going to be coming in those like nickel packages and such. And the reason why is because Levi and Josh Norman are both upcoming free agents. So McDermott's going to want to see who to bring back, if either of them. I don't think they're going to bring back Josh Norman. They might bring back Levi Wallace, but I'm not sure on that one. So, and they know they're going to have Dane Jackson for another couple of years because he was what was he, 7th or undrafted?
He was a 7th.
Yeah. So he was a 7th round pick, so they're going to have him for at least another 2 years. So I think.
If I'm him, I mean, I think he deserves a roster spot.
I think he deserves a roster spot, but the problem is, who do you take that roster spot away from right now? It's like you really can't take it away from anybody because everyone's been playing so well. The only person I'd say you could probably take that roster spot away from is Trent Murphy.
Oh, well, I mean, he won't be there next year. So
He won't be there next year. I mean, I think Trent Murphy knows he won't be there, and that's kind of why he brought a dead deer into the Bills Stadium, which I still don't get, but it's whatever. But yeah. Like I said, my people to watch this week is the Bills receiving corps because let's say Cole Beasley isn't active, you're still going to have 4 really good receivers catching the ball this week and Dawson Knox. So Josh Allen's going to be able to spread the ball around a lot, and with Rock Ya-Sin already out, let's say Xavier Rhodes is going to cover Stephon Diggs. Who's covering Gabe Davis? Who's covering Kenny Stills? Who's covering John Brown? You can't cover them all. Like, you've seen it throughout the entire year for the Bills. You can't cover them all. It's either going to be Beasley wide open, Gabe Davis wide open, Stephon Diggs wide open, or John Brown. Someone's going to get wide open, and Josh Allen's not going to miss them. So those are my those are who I'm watching this week. Who's going to be able to get open for the Buffalo Bills first? And on defense, it's going to be stopping Jonathan Taylor. If you can contain Jonathan Taylor to where he's not doing anything spectacular, maybe a few 4-yard runs here and there, but no breakout runs, I think the Bills can win this game easily if they stop Jonathan Taylor. If they're going to force Phillip Rivers to throw the ball more than 35 times, Buffalo can win this game. They are not going to win the game off Phillip Rivers' arm. If they stop Jonathan Taylor, that's going to be the big key for the Buffalo Bills, which means my 2 players to watch on defense are going to be Matt Milano and Ed Oliver, because Ed Oliver is going to be that first person to get there because he's the nose tackle for the Buffalo Bills. He's going to be that person to get there, and Milano is their best, and Matt Milano is their best run stuffer. He is all over the field, and the Bills, Brandon, you're going to win Executive of the Year. McDermott, you're probably going to win Coach of the Year. Josh Allen's going to get snubbed. Josh Allen's probably going to get snubbed of MVP, but that's fine. Re-sign Matt Milano. That's your biggest thing. That's your biggest thing this offseason.
We all know in our eyes Josh Allen MVP. But, the media and the league will have different views. They're going to give it to
Aaron Rodgers. Although Josh Allen will probably finish second in MVP voting.
Which is still good on his end, but I'd rather him win the MVP. But hey, it is what it is. I will say this: he will definitely be in Offensive Player of the Year consideration as well.
I think the Bills will have 2 players in Offensive Player of the Year. I think they'll have Diggs and Allen, and I think the other players considered would probably be Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. And you could probably make the case for all of them. I would probably say Derrick Henry wins Offensive Player of the Year because, he rushed for 2,000 yards. That's very impressive for. But I think Allen could win Offensive Player of the Year. I think he'll get second in MVP voting, which might mean he'll win Offensive Player of the Year if he's getting consideration for that. But who are your players to watch on offense and defense? I already went over mine. It's going to be the wide receiver core for the Bills, and it's going to be Matt Milano and Ed Oliver on the defense for the Bills as well. So who you got to watch?
I say this. It's a step in this. When it comes to this, is probably going to be one of the best matchups of the weekend. That's not me being biased. I think from the matchup standpoint, I think this is probably one of the best ones next to maybe Seattle LA. That's just because it's a division matchup, and that's the third time. This will be the third meeting between them this year. And on top of that, the Rams are getting off back. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be a very interesting one. Tennessee and Baltimore, we know how that goes most times, but maybe a different story this year. I don't know. I know I've seen a lot of things on the news talking about the comparison of Lamar and Allen and Josh Allen, who was the most pressure on them this year. Personally, I think it's Lamar because he's 0-2, and in his playoff appearances, he has not been very well. Last year he did well somehow, but they still lost because their defense sucked. But that's another story for another day. But as far as this game, personally, I figured that this was a great matchup on both sides but the main thing that we've already pointed out is that it's basically you gotta stop Jonathan Taylor. That two-headed monster that they got back there between Naheem Hines and Jonathan Taylor, that's pretty much what they're gonna have to lean on to win that game. Because personally, and statistically numbers, Philip Rivers, he got 4,000 yards. He's actually had an incredible season.
4,100 and about 70 yards, 69 yards for Philip Rivers.
He's had a very resurgent season down here in Indianapolis. He's had a solid line. Got some weapons on the offensive end. Has got those two running backs back there. Got T.Y. getting back into the thing. So Frank Reich, it's just his coach. Everyone knows Frank Reich. All hopefully be right.
Wait. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. How poetic is it that the Buffalo Bills' first home playoff game and the coach for the opposing team is Frank Reich? That's just poetic, right? That's just poetry.
You can't write a better script. I don't know who's writing this stuff, but somehow
whoever is better be hired by WWE.
Who would have thought, man? But it's like I said, it's fun to see him be successful. Glad he's being successful out there in Indy. He's got a Super Bowl. Plug it. He's got a Super Bowl as offensive coordinator. Can't forget that. But yeah, like I said, Philip Rivers he's had a very resurgent year, but he has a tendency to turn the ball over and not keep his hands clean. And he's just shown that a few times this year, the 600 that they do have, and the few wins that they have as well. He's shown that when they can't take care of the ball, Colts struggle. So, like I said, I know Buffalo's main game plan is to focus on Jonathan Taylor, take him out, and find ways to, stop him in the line. And if you get some pressure on Philip Rivers, he is bound to turn the ball over. And on top of that, it's in Buffalo. Philip Rivers does not do cold.
No, Philip Rivers is not.
He's been in California his whole career.
And then he went to a dome.
So, you got to think about it, man. These conditions probably aren't going to be the best for Philip Rivers. And that new arm he got, and because he's old, and really his attacker, he really isn't that arm. We know that. But, this is what Indy is going to have to rely on. They're going to need him to be clean and feed Jonathan Taylor. That's how Indy wins. So as far as things to focus on Buffalo defensively, it's the pass rush. That front seven is got to make sure that they have the right gap integrity. Got to make sure everything is just there, and they cannot they cannot have outside runs going on because that's exactly what Indy likes to do. They like to do a lot of outside zone schemes, and they also like to hit between tackles. So, Jonathan Taylor has some solid vision for a rookie running back. Like, seriously, like a rookie running back. That man has been playing his ass off.
He's been playing amazing. And
he's also a talented.
The one thing I want to say about the pass rush is this is going to be the best test for the Bills pass rush they probably face all season, because you can make the argument that the Colts probably have the best offensive line in the NFL when healthy. Like, I mean, you got Ryan Kelly up the middle. You got Quinn Nelson, who's probably the best interior lineman in the league.
Whoever's going up against Quinn is going to have a long day. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Like, I like Quinn Nelson's a freaking monster.
Knowing Quinn Nelson as... I'm going to assume if Buffalo's coming out in the 4-3, they're probably going to have... I'm thinking it's Oliver. I think it's going to be Kelly and Nelson against Oliver most of the time.
Like I said, the front seven, but the main, I'm focused on the edge rusher. So, Addison, huge, because Indianapolis is missing Costanza.
Yes.
Costanza for the season, because I think it was things they put him on IR, something like that.
Yeah, it was his ankle.
Yeah, so I think, and that's on the left side. And they just signed, I think they signed like Jared Beldier last week. I mean, he played okay, but I mean, that's something to watch. And on top of that, Hughes and Addison are coming off rest weeks, so I think that bodes very nicely for them. That they get to go up against an tackle. So yeah, that front seven, the front seven is a very things I'm focused on. The back end, I'm not really worried about those guys. Because Tre'Davious, number one, he's coming off for a rest week.
Yeah.
Which is very good for him. And he'll probably be shadowing T.Y. the entire game. And the rest of the receivers, I don't know who the rest of the receivers are. I don't.
You got Michael Pittman Jr., who's a rookie.
Pittman is not doing bad. I've seen him out there. He's actually this size.
I mean, the Colts don't have, like, these big name targets, but they have players, like, who are going to fill up the stat sheet.
Them in the back end, like I said, Poyer and Hyde, they've been playing fucking wonderful this year. There will be times, I'm pretty sure Terrence Johnson will see the assignment of T.Y. Hilton, because I know Coach likes to put T.Y. in the slot from time to time. So, yeah, that's on defense. Offensively, the running back room, man. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the wide receivers. The wide receivers going to do them. Okay? Because on the back end for Indy, the only good person back there, well, two good people, I'll probably say, is Kenny Moore and Malik Hooker. And Xavier Rhodes is in. I mean, he's had a kind of an up and down year. I mean, the secondary's not bad. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not bad either. So, I don't think anybody in that secondary one-on-one can cover anybody in our wide receiving core.
No.
And that's no disrespect to Kenny Moore, because Kenny Moore's been having an incredible year. But, I mean, just be honest with you. Look at our receiver core compared to those guys. We have a lot of people that can win one-on-one. So, and Josh Allen's probably going to see a lot of zone coverage, which he fucking destroys this year. I mean, it doesn't matter what coverage you give the guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about your top 10 defense. He hasn't. Okay? He doesn't care about your defense. He's going to find ways to freaking shred it. And that's what he's been doing all year. But yeah, I'm focused on the running back room. Can we find ways to keep the sticks moving? Because the passing game is going to be the passing game. That's going to be what it is. They're going to do that too. But are they going to find ways, when they incorporate the run, can we get those 6-7 yard games that can keep the chain moving? One person that I'm vying that we please bring up this week.
I know who you're going to say.
Williams.
Yep.
Man, I fucking love that kid, man.
That kid plays with passion. Like, if you look the way he ran against the Dolphins, he was carrying the ball and running like it was the last time he was ever going to carry a football in his life. He was bulldozing people. He was just running as fast as possible. And I was going to say, do you think the Bills should call up Antonio Williams for this game? Now,
I am vying for it because I feel like if you bring up Antonio Williams will give this offense a juice that is probably never seen all season. This is no disrespect to Zach Moss and it's no disrespect to Singleton, but when you watch them run, I'm not seeing the tough and the footwork that I'm seeing what I saw on Sunday with Antonio Williams.
I will say,
Williams looks and on top of that, Antonio Williams looks a whole lot faster than freaking Devin Singletary that much when he's running the ball. So
he looked really, really good against the Dolphins. I will say,
this wasn't with the starting line.
No.
This is with mixed in people from what you call it. I think he had Feliciano.
I think he had Feliciano, and I think he had Ryan Bates. He had Winters was in there. But I will say this. There's been moments where Singletary is going to show you like the footwork, like where he's juking out defenders and making people miss. And there's been plays